What's happening, guys? I'm TechSource. Welcome to Setup Wars episode 203, the show where you submit your setup to get featured on the channel. So if you guys want to participate, make sure to watch the video link down below. Also, guys, I've been getting a lot of submissions from you on my Twitter page for the Lego edition of Setup Wars, and it's actually pretty cool to see how creative some of those really are. And I'm really happy that you guys are excited, but I haven't officially announced that just yet. So save the pictures and stick around because I'll be announcing the Lego edition of Setup Wars pretty soon on an upcoming episode of Setup Wars. But anyways, with that said, let the Setup Wars begin. So we check out a lot of Mac setups on Setup Wars, and if you guys are a Mac owner, then you're gonna love today's sponsor. Intego provides all the necessary tools to keep your Mac safe. When it comes to selecting a trustworthy antivirus software, the choice was easy for me. Intego is a well-established brand with products for home and business. Its signature Virus Barrier X9 tool is known to be updated with the capability of protecting against new cyber threats and malware. You can even scan your connected devices such as an iPhone or iPad. When the program is installed, you'll notice how easy it is to get the file scanning complete. After the scan, I decided to keep real-time file scanning on. Net Barrier X9, another addition in Intego's suite, is an ideal improvement and addition to the Mac's firewall. It works as a two-way network protector that prevents risky permission access. This stands out to me as a must-have tool to block questionable web behavior before it becomes a problem. Other apps in the suite, such as Personal Backup and Washing Machine, are for your peace of mind. Similar to Mac's Time Machine, Personal Backup conveniently backs up your data and it even creates bootable backups. As the name suggests, the Washing Machine is a cleaning program that helps by freeing up space and improving system stability. And lastly, Content Barrier is here to aid parents in keeping their kids safe from unregulated web content. Intego is a fantastic solution to keep your Mac safe while optimizing its performance. If you guys want to help support the channel and get a 50% discount, then make sure to check the link down below. Kicking off the episode, we have Eden from Israel and his hybrid laptop and PC gaming setup. He uses this for gaming and coding, and he built this on top of the popular IKEA Carlby countertop with a couple of Alex drawers as support. We have a single 32-inch gaming monitor from Samsung that's mounted against the wall, and instead of using a channel raceway for the cable, he actually used a cable clip instead, which I think was a better choice since it's less noticeable. However, the only thing I would have done differently was use white cables instead, so that way it blends in with the wall a lot better compared to the black cables. For peripherals, Eden went wireless to minimize cable clutter and kept the setup as clean as possible. We got the AN Pro 2 keyboard with custom keycaps, and he paired that with the MX Master. However, he does have a Logitech G503 that he uses for gaming as well. It also looks like the setup is located in his living room, which makes sense why the setup doesn't have any speakers, so instead he uses the Logitech G930 gaming headset, which of course is wireless. He also kept the surface of the desk very organized and minimal while slightly personalizing it with a few of his Funko Pop collections. Powering the setup is a custom built inside the Corsair spec Omega case. We got the i5 9600K in here with an RTX 2080 XC Black Edition from EVGA, very nice. No complaints for cable management, everything does seem to be under control with that cable rack. Then again, there aren't that many cables to work with anyway, since the majority of the things are wireless. But overall, a very clean and organized hybrid setup. Thank you, Eden, for starting off the show. Next up is Manuel from Miami, Florida, and his custom desk setup featuring the Asus 49-inch Super Ultrawide that's mounted against this massive custom backboard that looks like it's built out of wood and painted in black. He then added those 3D art panels that we're starting to see everywhere on the show to decorate the backdrop, which gives it a nice presentation and makes the setup stand out. However, with that said, I feel like you really missed the opportunity to make this so much better, and I'll get into that later in the video. But first, let's take a closer look at the gear. So it looks like he stuck to mostly Corsair gear to take advantage of the iQ software. We got the K95 RGB Platinum keyboard with the Iron Claw wireless mouse and an RGB mousepad also from Corsair. However, for audio, he went with Logitech. We got a Logitech gaming headset sitting on the Corsair RGB headset stand, and for speakers, he has a pair of G560s. While I do like the fact that he put those on some wall shelves to kind of fill up the wall a bit, I feel like it really ruins the aesthetics because it's not centered. The PC powering the setup is mounted an interesting way to the wall using a monitor arm that he hooked up behind the PC. It's a sick water-cooled system featuring the i7 8700K and a GTX 1080 Ti. And finally, for cable management, Manuel attached a USB hub underneath the desk where all of the gear is connected to, and he used a spiral sleeve to hide the cables. Interesting choice, but I guess it works. Now that I got all that out of the way, I want to talk about what really grinds my gears about this setup. And I'm going to speak from the heart because I truly feel like this setup had the potential to win the seal of approval. First off, let's talk about the custom backboard. I think it's really cool and very creative the way he built it with a nice underglow, but it's not exactly centered with the 3D art panels. Second, there is a lot of empty space above the monitor that I feel could have easily been filled. On top of that, the setup itself isn't centered in the middle, throwing off the entire balance. Here's what I would have done, and I want you guys to pitch in as well and let me know what you think. But don't you think it would have been better if Manuel mounted the PC on the wall in the center? This way you could have positioned the setup in the middle and spaced out the speakers evenly, making it symmetrical. He's even got the perfect PC for this. The Core P3 from Thermaltake can be mounted on the wall. In fact, it was designed specifically for that. So I'm really confused as to why he put it off to the side like this. On top of that, some little details like splitting the controller mounts and putting one on the opposite side and putting maybe two of those car models on the other wall shelf to balance it further would have added to the overall symmetry of this setup. I apologize for the rant, but I feel like it was such a missed opportunity to make this an even better setup. But either way, I think what you started here is pretty awesome, Manuel, and I want to thank you for sharing it with us. And number 3 is Marcos from Panama and his pretty unique productivity setup. This is definitely not your average Joe cookie cutter setup. It has that unique vibe. So he built this using 2 different desks that he had laying around, and one of them actually has built-in shelves, which I think Marcos implemented quite well in this setup. So he's using 2 different size monitors spaced out on a monitor mount. The 21-inch Acer display is mostly used for programming and design, while the other is for video editing and multimedia. No gaming here. Even the peripherals are split. He's rocking a Gold Touch GTP keyboard with an ergonomic vertical mouse that has a trackball built in. I also like how the mousepad matches the wallpaper on the monitors. For audio, he's using the Logitech Z120 speakers, but he also has a pair of headphones as well. Now, even though Marcos isn't a gamer, he did try and personalize the setup a bit by adding a few collectibles on the wall shelf. However, I do have some slight concerns about the hanging tool shelf. It's dangerously close to the PC, and I can't think of a good enough reason why I would hang a tool shelf anywhere near my setup, but hey, you do you. Cables are managed perfectly thanks to the custom rack that Marcos built underneath the desk to hide the wires, and even used one of the shelves built in the desk to hold up his backup power supply. Right above that, we got the custom PC that's equipped with the Ryzen 5 2600 and an XFX Radeon R7 240. It's definitely refreshing to see a different setup like this one. Thank you, Marcos, for entering. Coming in at number 4 is Matt from the UK and his awesome gaming den. He does pretty much everything in here, from gaming to productivity and schoolwork. In the corner of the room is where he built his corner desk using a few Linman tabletops and Alex drawers. He definitely took advantage of all of that space with triple 27-inch monitors from BenQ. For peripherals, Matt is rocking some Razer gear. We got the Black Widow Chroma keyboard and a Mamba Elite mouse, which he drilled a hole in the desk for, but why not do the same for the keyboard? Surprisingly, he doesn't have any speakers or headsets, just a Blue Yeti microphone hooked up to a boom arm. So I guess he uses the speakers from the monitor for audio, which makes no sense to me. I can see that Matt put in a good effort on some parts of cable management, but left all the excess wires on the ground behind his PC. You know, you could have just used a cable box to hide all of those wires, by the way. And while we're down here, let's take a look at the custom PC. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed a rare phenomenon, an SLI build using dual 1070 Ti's. What a miraculous event this has been. Finding SLI builds on Setup Wars is like discovering a fossil. So that is Matt's main setup, but he also has a laptop setup on the side with a MIDI keyboard for a bit of music production, and finally a console setup on the other end of the room with his Xbox One. The only small critique I have with this setup are with the papers on the wall. You probably put them there for convenience, but it definitely takes away from the aesthetics of your setup. It's generally a bad idea to post papers on the wall, especially without a frame of some sort. Personally, I would hang your assault rifle on the wall instead of those papers, but that's just me. Thank you, Matt, for entering. Wrapping up the episode is praise from Winnipeg, Canada. He built himself a dope compact gaming and editing setup with a single monitor that he mounted to the IKEA Linman table. He also kept the gear very minimal in this setup. He's using the popular Ducky 1-2 Mini paired with a Corsair Harpoon Pro gaming mouse, and for audio, it looks like he's only using a Void Pro headset. I do like how the setup looks at night with all of that purple lighting and a little bit of red in the center to spice it up. The colors even stay consistent throughout the custom PC he built inside the O11 dynamic case. We got the Ryzen 5 2600X in here with 16 gigs of RAM and the Aorus GTX 1080 Ti. Extra points for having the right fan configuration in here as well. Cables are managed pretty good for the most part. I can see that he installed a Signum rack and hooked up a couple of power strips underneath the desk. He definitely put in the effort. I'm not too sure what that black box is that you tied up to one of the legs, but overall I think you did a great job with the management and your setup. Thank you for entering. And that is it for this episode of Setup Wars. As always, make sure you guys click the link down below to vote on who you think has the best desk setup, or you can leave a comment down below, whichever works best for you. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure to toss a like to show your support for the series. And as always, I will see you guys very soon in the next one.